picks, right? Yes, tanks are strong. Yes, lethality users are strong, but you can have a variety of different things. It's not as one-dimensional as I think people were making it out to be. People were talking about only tanks in the jungle.
Right.
Yes, we've seen tanks in the jungle. We've also seen Kayn. We've seen Graves. We've seen Kha'Zix. We've seen Elise. So there is, I think, a lot of different interpretations to what is best this patch, and we'll see if the teams do eventually settle on.
I mean, look at the bans already in Phase 1. Talon, Jax, Caitlyn. You're going to look for that Zac, look for that Elise still. Look at the Cho'Gath usually gets through. The Kallistas are still there. This is going to be a pretty great pick and ban.
I mean, the two for me that I think you really have to highlight as far as tanks goes is Maokai and Cho'Gath.
And Maokai as well.
I think those two are really the elite tanks in this patch. They can both be flexed, which I think gives them additional power also. Yes, Zac is very strong, but Zac really only plays in the jungle in professional play. Cho'Gath and Maokai can go to either role, and flex picks become so powerful. So we'll see, does TSM actually want to ban one of those out, or are they willing to make a trade?
Jarvan has been something that the junglers have been going back to because of its ability to flex a little bit, as we see Thresh commonly taken out now in the first phase here, as well as that Elise, the tried and true third ban, or one of them from blue side, and that Callista does get picked up.
Callista getting picked up, TSM has the opportunity, if they want to go tank heavy, you can actually go both Maokai and Cho'Gath as the first round and use that in massive front line in the top and jungle. I think it's a very powerful first two picks, but people are not always as comfortable on those champions as they are kind of newer, especially the Cho'Gath. So we'll see if they do decide to go for that, or if they are going to actually lock in the Rumble. Maokai, I think, certainly should be the pick. The question now becomes, do they want the double frontline, or are they willing to give over the Cho'Gath? Because Brandini or Arcadian will likely play it if TSM won't take it away.
Had a few hovers, but like we said, only contracts so far getting locked in here on this Kayn. 10 seconds left as the Maokai gets locked in. Still looking at Echo Fox's side to what can synergize with that. Callista may actually be a Kennen. Gate definitely having quite a big champion pool himself, and it's the Jhin lock-in, as more people have been trending towards that.
Yeah, the Callista Kennen is something we've seen pop up a couple times. It's got varied results, and it hasn't been super successful. Obviously, a throwback to when Callista first kind of came in the scene, that was very popular. I would also say things like Braum work very well. Any sort of engagey type supports can be pretty powerful, but you can also use it as a disengage with even things that are more passive, like Janna and those sorts of champions too.
I love that ability of the in and the out. It's almost like a safe Ashe arrow. If your support has their own way of getting in. The Rumble gets locked in, and they showed that a bit on the side of TSM, but it is going to be Brandini's.
Now, something we can see here is this is kind of saying, hey, we're expecting that to be a Maokai top because that's a pretty good matchup. You can now actually counterpick the Rumble and then swap the Maokai to the jungle. So you could do something like Camille, who can be a pick that snowballs very heavily against the Rumble. Also, you have very strong ganks coming out of the jungle from the Maokai. So personally, I would like to see that. It's not actually the choice here from TSM, but I think options like that are sometimes overlooked because you've essentially got Echo Fox trying to pick 4 lane now against the Maokai, and Maokai can simply be flexed. Camille is one of Haunter's best champions, so why not pick for an advantageous composition like that?
Absolutely. Also looking at the side of Echo Fox, seeing that Rumble actually flexed into the jungle a few times, they decided to just say, yeah, Kha'Zix Rumble, we'll take those. Obvious mid, or obvious jungle, obvious top. What does the second ban phase have, though? Froggen gets a hit from that Lucian, and LeBlanc onto Bjergsen. Do they continue with that, or do they look at that top side of the map? Oh, sorry.
And that's the question, right? You can sometimes draw more bans. This is one advantage of not taking your top lane earlier because you still can flex it, and if the second ban phase draws jungle or top lane bans, you can then flex that Maokai to the role to kind of have that additional option later. We also have to remember that Karma theoretically can be a mid laner. Very likely will be support. But Karma has kind of fallen out of favor somewhat, has received a number of nerfs over the last few patches, and people have been kind of prioritizing some of the other supports over her. Even things like Sona and Janna and so on, if you want to play those more defensive supports, or Nami, have been kind of rising above the Karma.
Imagine if Bjergsen takes this back to mid lane.
It's possible. I mean, it's not going to be now with the coming in, but
it's one of his pentakills in the history.
Yeah, and Karma mid, I think, actually can be fairly strong, especially in a tank meta. Like, if people are playing tanks versus tanks, damage is relatively low, and shielding becomes so ridiculously powerful because you can't actually break the damage threshold to actually start punching through those shields. But either way, for now, Echo Fox definitely drafting a very damage-heavy composition. No tank at all coming through. And if they do actually lock this in, okay, so it is going to be the Braum Kalista combo.
Yep.
Makes some sense. We touched on that. You can throw the Braum in for an additional piece of initiation, utilize that stun into your ultimate, into the passive stun, so it's like essentially a triple CC chain that can come out right off the bat.
I would love Anivia in this composition. Not sure how it works against TSMs, but being able to slow wall and lock everybody up would be on an equalizer in that storm. But they go for the Corki, a very safe and surefire pick here for Froggen in the mid lane. We've seen quite a bit of results from Corki, whoever it's actually going on to.
And now we're going to find out, where's the Maokai going? Camille was taken off the table, so they don't actually have that option now as they left top for the second round. J4, very likely going to be top. I'm expecting that to be top, and then the Maokai jungle for Svenskeren. You do see some J4 jungle, but it certainly more often is in that top lane, and I think this can be a pretty decent matchup against the Rumble as well. Yes, you will be getting pushed in, but with that gank assist, it's very scary for Rumble to be pushing into J4 and Maokai, and they are swapping it around, so it's possible that this could actually still be Maokai top and J4 jungle, but definitely something that has not been played a lot by Svenskeren. And he actually has 0 plays on J4 jungle this season.
One of the only, you'll have 20 seconds until they can get another flop in there, and then everything has to stick. Yeah, there's the last one at the last 2 seconds. They do put it back. I was going to say Moon's really the only other one, and you see putting Jarvan in the jungle quite a bit. So,
and in some of the other regions you see it, it would not be strange to see the Jarvan jungle, just simply more common to see those roles reversed, as Maokai jungle has an easier clear. Jarvan obviously very strong with the Black Cleaver, Titanic into Stoneplate combo, so that's what we're going to see.
The coaches are heading off to the back. Change sentence structure. They are heading off. The players are ready. Hashtag Fox win, hashtag TSM win. We'll have to see some pretty volatile team comps coming from both sides. Damage in just about every lane here for TSM, and same thing for Echo Fox. Tanks in the jungle for TSM, so.
Hey, you've got to say, looking at Echo Fox's composition, they're much more, I think, damage focused even than TSM with Kha'Zix's jungle. Rumble in the top lane, pure DPS. You have Corki and you have the Kalista. So this is a very high damage comp for Echo Fox. If you fall behind, Maokai to J4, this tank composition who's going to be supported and shielded up by a Biofrost on the Karma, it's going to get really bad for Echo Fox. When you run these fragile compositions, you need to be winning lanes. You need to be staying ahead, or it does kind of shatter because the engage is so easy with the Maokai J4 combo, backed up by this Jhin ultimate, backed up by the Biofrost shield. So look for Echo Fox to push their advantage in the lanes, and if they're unable to do that, TSM's probably going to steamroll.
See how they start this one off. A little line of scrimmage, but it does look like Fox does want to keep moving in and get something deep. Yeah, I mean, on the side of TSM.
Echo Fox hanging out as a 5-man squad. They're waiting to see, will TSM invade for the Raptor ward? And they were stacking there, hoping that someone from TSM would step forward for that Raptor ward, and that they would be able to force out a Summoner spell, or even get a First Blood. Because if you walk that far in and get hit by a Braum Q, you are going to get tagged. Either way, TSM did actually push in for Vision on the other side, so they have a ward on Acadian's blue buff, and that will give them some intel as to where he is starting. And Echo Fox ends up with no vision at all, so they don't actually really know what Svenskeren is doing, where he's going to be starting, and for now it looks like he will be starting on the red buff as he's stacking up his saplings over there.
See how much they focus on this pathing, how much they actually focus on the lanes. Both of these teams known to take a bit of a longer laning phase, Fox and TSM, with the lowest percentage first turret. Fox at 39%, TSM with 41. So it kind of shows you how they battle back and forth more so over that laning phase than opening up the map to start things off.
Yeah, and it can be one of the cases where some teams do like to try to prioritize, things like dragons or or CS advantages over the earlier lane, so have to force for turrets. Sometimes that can be pretty good. Sometimes it doesn't really work out that well. Svenskeren can be able to clear this out very easily with the saplings. You have so much AoE damage coming out in addition to your Arcane Smash. So Maokai really does have a strong jungle clear, and is going to be expected to be a bit ahead on that clear compared to Acadian, who skipped clearing that big Raptor, trying to move a little bit faster. And sometimes you see Kha'Zix just do a 3-camp clear on bot side and then base, because you actually will take a lot of damage doing this clear as Kha'Zix.
Make sure you get those spikes in range for the heal. Keeps himself good to go. Good push in here. Biofrost gaining that brush control on the bot side. Acadian finishes his route. A few last shots from Double Lift. Actually pretty a tough lane to play against. We see any lanes with Jin's poke, and you can just keep hitting a deadly flourish and stun the other team up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a range support versus melee as well, right? And while Braum has great gank assist, great team fighting, great all-in, Braum does not play well passively. If Braum is sitting back, you're going to get poked out, and that is why MASH is missing a fair bit of the CS, because they're getting pushed in on a turret, they're getting harassed out, and Gate, you have trouble sometimes prepping the minions as a melee support simply because you're going to take damage every time you actually step up to try to do that.
Right. I think Braum's one of the final few not on coin. Even the Threshes are switching over at this point. For many reasons, of course.
Yeah, coin
always that
very
helpful
strong
for
right now.
position in lane is also a great thing. Waiting for this to pop up to the turret before they can really do too much more damage to it. MASH should have a few. Gate can just kind of sit back and allow him to farm this.
But look at even just that mantra Q, kind of zoning him back a little bit, trying to push him off any of those minions that he possibly can. Bjerg's actually taking quite a bit of damage there from Froggen, and Froggen is running Warlords, as has become really, really popular on these mid lane Corkis. People have pretty much swapped entirely away from Thunderlords, and having this extra sustain, you can sometimes win out in the mid lane in the early phases simply because you have the extra regen from your Warlords, plus the Doran Shield, and as Bjergsen maybe runs out of mana on Talia, you're not going to have that issue as much because your auto attack is kind of more powerful, and you can kind of continue to trade and stay around longer.
Bjergsen looking to back there with no mana. Has to stay for one more wave as the fan vote comes in. Acadian looking to sway that. A little bit of pressure here. I know Bjergsen's low. That might be a flash he has to burn, but the sixth sense, not easy to say.
Yeah,
comes into play.
He's going to be able to push in Froggen, so does actually shove out the wave, allows himself to get that nice base, grabs Darksteel, some early items as well, and going to be able to refill that mana and run back to lane. And Acadian has outspotted Sven, and we'll have to get out of there.
Bramble Smash love tap between both of them. Acadian's going to harass knowing that Bjergsen's back for now, but no extended stay. Froggen also wants to get out of there because he has no mana. Push up in the top lane, still even in CS there. It's the discrepancy for Doublelift to MASH in that bot lane, 40-23 so far.
And, I mean, it's okay for now. Yes, he can kind of catch up if you don't allow that to continue extending. If you can kind of keep it around that 10 CS mark, it's not the end of the world. This is certainly a significant advantage, though, for Doublelift and Biofrost, and it means they get the earlier base. They are going to get probably the better buy as well, like coming back to lane very quickly with that serrated Dirk. If you can mess up the back timings of MASH and Gate, Biofrost is going to try to freeze this wave here and force them to stick around, or give up even more CS. Because if Doublelift actually gets back before they can head back to base, then they're going to lose a lot.
Quick hit. Trying to get a little damage on both. Back hits. They won't have too fast of a push on this bottom lane, but Biofrost and Doublelift will be able to get the wards in and actually may be able to do something with Svenskeren as MASH and Gate return to lane.
Yeah, and they are electing to just kind of hold the wave, so it is going to push eventually, but they're going to deny some of the CS away from their opponents by doing this, allowing the minions of Echo Fox to kind of get killed off by their own. And now they do decide to shove, so they will push this in, and maybe wanting to try to get a little bit of vision around the dragon. Biofrost is going to go back to base, so either way, TSM's bot lane definitely doing very well, and everywhere else it feels pretty even across the map.
Haunter, yeah, as you were saying, across the map, feeling pretty good for himself. You check out some Froggen stats.
Looking good.
Yep. First in solo kills. This is the guy that goes very hard. Your rapid fire TF that's making plays by himself. We haven't seen it this season. He's kind of more timid in those picks, but still, the damage dealer of the team and a lot of compositions can be built around him from what Echo Fox does.
Statistically, he's one of the best, if not, at the very top for mid lane. So Froggen has been having individually a very impressive season. That's another reason why people are like, well, why is he getting subbed out? Why is the Monte coming in? Especially this late in the season when they're trying to play to stay in the LCS, right? They're trying to not get relegated, which is a reality for this team at this point. And Acadian going to be looking for the invade. This is a level 6 Acadian. Svenskeren is only level 5, and Hunter is pushed in, so Svenskeren playing very intelligently, backing off, and he should have spotted him there, but we'll see if he can get out.
Skirmishers as well. He's looking to take this fight all the way home. Equalizer doesn't allow them to actually grab the kill, but they do get the flash on Svenskeren. That's not Acadian's first roam into the jungle. He will be back.
Yeah, traded flashes, but they get the red buff. They're getting the experience lead, so this is nicely done. But when you have the push in those solo lanes, you can afford to do these kind of invades because they knew Haunter could not actually come down without losing a lot up in that top lane. So Haunter stays with the wave. They invade as a 2v1, and Svenskeren going to be pushed out of the jungle. We could see Akadi even go try to meet him at the blue buff if he wants to look for that.
As we said, it shouldn't be too bad for MASH. He's actually closed that CS gap just a little bit as this wave looks pretty equaled out.
Yeah, it's not going to be the biggest of deals, you know, that early CS, as long as you don't continue to fall more and more behind. And where it becomes a real problem is if you actually give up a death on top of a CS disadvantage, because then the game can super start to snowball. We'll see what Doublelift and Bifrost are going to want to try to do with their added pressure.
It would be impressive if they get a kill. A Callista Braum is pretty magically difficult to kill. You're going to have the shield, the Glacial Fissure, and then MASH just Fates calls Gate out when he really feels like it's a bad situation. The roam down from the bot side is just giving Acadian a little bit of love for him to get pressure. Brandini with a teleport up. Haunter did use his to get back the lane. That may become something big on the objective, but the Cloud Drake may have to sit for a while before it joins the party.
Yeah, both teams seeming pretty happy to kind of sit back, play passively, and I agree, now that the Callista is level 6, it's very difficult to really look for those kills. Even if a gank comes down, it can be really tough. And they are looking to invade heavily on this blue buff. Froggen once again pushes in, so Echo Fox has the push, and they're going to get a kill on Svenskeren.
Right over Nature's Grasp. They give him a nice big hug. Svenskeren goes down. Bjergsen looking to pinch them in here with Biofrost and Doublelift, but it's already Gate and MASH that actually had that route inside the jungle. Fast movement from Fox to pressure the blue, and they get it with a kill.
And they're going to look for first turret. They've TP'd down Brandini, so it's 5 members of Echo Fox down here. TSM, I mean, Doublelift is now completely cornered. He didn't back off. He's dead too.
This is bad news, Bears. Not long for this world. Doublelift goes down. Acadian picks up a kill. That's Froggen and Acadian. The full team's going to be grabbing some gold onto this as Haunter tries to push that top wave. Remember, his TP was down for this engage.
I mean, they knew that that was going to be coming, but Doublelift doesn't back off in time. Tries to stick around, maybe got zoned off and couldn't actually leave. Biofrost is able to get out, but a really good play there for Echo Fox. Getting a couple kills, first turret, they steal away another buff, and Svenskeren being abused pretty heavily here in the jungle, but it's not really just on him. It's the fact that Echo Fox's solo laners have been pushing in TSMs. Yep. In the top side, they invade with the top laner. Now, Froggen shoves in Bjergsen. He invades with the package, and this is something you have to really play around because they knew Corki had the package, and they knew he's missing. But Svenskeren really wants to try to get some of these buffs, doesn't want to fall too far behind, and then the TP's coming in. Doublelift and Biofrost at this point just needed to actually leave, but Doublelift wants to go back and try to pick up some of the CS, and just a little bit too greedy. I mean, you walk back to the turret, where do you think they're coming next? There are 5 men on the bot side. I think that one was a little bit obvious, and Doublelift gives up a pretty easy kill.
Fox is more than happy to have it, a team that can grab an early game lead. It's not beyond them. They definitely can find these kills. Froggen with the solos. This time it's all about the teamwork, and that's really what we've been looking from Echo Fox as they kind of swap these squads in and out and look for that core 5 as they come into the end of this split. I mean, maybe they continue to swap it out, but right now, solidify this, it looks pretty good towards the early game.
Yeah, it's certainly looking good in this game, and we have to remember this is what they needed, right? They are running a very fragile composition. They need to be ahead. They need to be abusing these guys before, you know, Maokai and J4 can turn into these big tanks because TSM's composition, I think, is so much easier to execute going into the later stages of the game. So we'll see if they can continue to press the pace. For now, they have a good advantage, but they can't sit back on that. They want to continue pushing. They want to continue getting these advantages because if TSM is given time to scale, I think it still becomes very tough for Echo Fox, even from a lead.
Absolutely. TSM's ability to fight toward
here
the late
comes Soul
game
Laners.
becomes huge. Brandini not in a great spot. Going to look to get the rest of the farm that he can before going down. That's what you got to do. Get everything you can. He'll be back in 26 seconds, but he's going to have a long walk, and Haunter's get some free farm on the bot side. We'll see if Gate and the rest of the team now with that pressure bot can make anything happen top.
I mean, Sven is up here. They could look for a play. Acadian is actually on the Rift Herald. They do not know that just yet, but Gate missing. Now they suspect that, and they should have an idea that this is being started up. We'll see if TSM wants to move over and actually try to contest this, or if they're going to be happy to just give it up as Haunter is pushing on the bot side.
They might be as well. Bjergsen low on mana. Just use that ult to get a kill in the bot side. And we will have a quick pause as we come into the game. Echo Fox getting a little bit of momentum towards that top side as they're going for Rift Herald, and we'll see what panned out from the pause.
And Gate is having some audio issues, so we're going to get that looked at. Hopefully no lingering problems. We can get that fixed up very quickly and hop right back in. But we will let you know as soon as we know more. Either way, Echo Fox definitely off to a good start. TSM aware that they are on the Rift Herald now. And it is something that you have to kind of take into consideration, right? The pushing lanes is a very big deal. You talked about Bjergsen maybe being a little bit lower on mana. He just made this roam down. Very well executed. They know with Bjergsen and Hanser here, Brandini knows he really has no chance to get out in the long lane. I think ulting the wave is actually a pretty good choice because that means, you know, there's no real option for Hanser to push out and take a turret or anything like that. So best of a bad situation, but either way, Bjergsen back in mid lane. He is being pushed in by Froggen. So if TSM decides to contest in the 3v3, Froggen should be able to get over there a lot faster than Bjergsen. So it could turn into a 4v3. And I think that's one of the things that TSM will have to be taking into consideration when they're deciding, do we actually go over and contest this Rift Herald? Are we willing to give that much up? Because they are down, not that much. But I mean, if you lose the Rift Herald, if you lose another turret on top of that, the lead can become pretty big.
That's right. And we kind of mentioned in the beginning of the game, these are the two teams with that slowest first percentage turret. Echo Fox raises theirs a bit. And also, Bjergsen gets one more kill closer to the 1,000, so he's 4 away.
Not bad.
At this point, and it might happen in this game. But for the Rift Herald, they say, I don't think there's 4 kills there. My ult's down. Let's hang
Quadra
out.
kill. I mean, 4 people could come, right? Get an easy Quadra, get 1,000 kills would be pretty nice.
Say, let's hang out for now. But there are some spikes that really are allowing Echo Fox to do these things. That Triforce just finished up. Acadian has his skirmishers finished up as well, warrior style, so he can do a bit more damage. And everybody could make this move. It might just be a good fight for them if TSM decide to take it.
Yeah, I mean, the Triforce is a really strong point, finishing it this early, you know, for Froggen. A lot of times, if the Corkies are not doing as well in lane, this gets delayed quite a bit because people kind of take a sidestep and go get a Hex Drinker or things like this. But because he was doing very well, because he picked up kill and assist, as well as the global gold from the turret, he's going to be able to get very quickly to that Triforce and actually completed it, you know, pre-12 minutes. So that is very, very fast pace for him. The Skirmisher Saber, it's interesting you point that out because almost no one is going anything but the warding totem, actually.
Trackers, yeah.
Tracker's knife. So this means it's a playstyle based thing, right? We saw how much Acadian is actually invading, and if you're going to go Skirmisher Saber, you need to play that sort of style because you are not providing vision through wards. You have to provide vision through pressure, right? You have to be in the other jungler's face. That's how you track him. And this does give you a very heavily dueling advantage, you know, having that Skirmisher Saber. So the 1v1 should go very heavily in his favor, both based on champion and based on item build. So he's going to be looking to follow Sven around as much as he can, pressure him in his jungle, and that's how he wants to keep his team safe.
Absolutely. And it fits his play style as well. You know, Acadian going in, he's the kind of guy that likes to do something by himself, get that kill, almost like a not bother his team situation or don't have to wait for anybody. Sure, he'd love his team's help, but he would rather be in and out, and this just fits it right in the wheelhouse. Still looking to fix up Gates audio as we continue this one. TSM, talk about their past weeks a little bit, falling back and forth as they come back from MSI. Feeling obviously pretty strong from that, but at this point, or I'm sorry, Rift Rivals. But at this point, kind of looking to find their footing again.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I still think that they're probably the best team in the league.
Yeah.
They did not have a good game against Dignitas, and Dignitas is a team that, you know, people have been very high on, then very low on. It's kind of hard to tell where they are. I mean, they started the season 5-1. People are like, hey, maybe they're one of the best teams in the league. They're tied for first. Then they lose 4 straight series. They go to 5-5. Now they make a roster swap. They seem to be surging again. They crushed TSM yesterday. They are looking very good. But throughout the season, I mean, as far as actual total losses, TSM is the team with the least. People are still looking at them as a very strong team. And we have to see how can they actually adapt to this patch, right? We saw how another top team performed against Echo Fox yesterday. CLG did play against them and absolutely trashed them. They won in under an hour of gameplay. So you're looking for those sorts of performances from TSM against a lower tier team, because this is a team that's fighting to be the best team in the NA LCS.
Absolutely.
Going up against a team that's fighting to not get relegated. And it should be, you know, one-sided affair. We're getting towards the end of the split, and these are the stages where you don't really get to have that luxury of saying, oh, okay, well, we'll fix that later, right? It needs to be fixed now because you're getting to that playoff level.
Luxury for Rift Herald is Acadian and team. They do have a chance to pick it up. It can't be stopped. Nice flag and drag to 3 members of Fox, though. TSM do want this fight, even though we were talking about that item spike for Fox. If TSM has the positioning, they can rout Fox on this Rift Herald. It's still going to be up there for Acadian, but what a fight for TSM to just kind of strangle them down.
Yeah, nice job by TSM coming in, getting the kill. It's only the one kill, and you get the 100 gold for taking the Rift Herald, plus the Rift Herald bonus of actually being able to drop that and hopefully secure a turret. So I would say it's worthwhile for Echo Fox, especially when you consider teleport and stuff was blown there too, but there were a number of summoners used in retreat for Echo Fox, so it just comes down who's going to be able to get more from the extended trade. Can TSM actually get more out of these summoners being down, or will Echo Fox get a lot from the Rift Herald? So Acadian grabbing that Rift Herald, but because he sticks around to do so, he's going to get chased down, he will get killed. The rest of Echo Fox able to actually retreat out, but this was a nice TP play, and you see the combination, how powerful it is of the Maokai and the J4. Throw out that Maokai ultimate, you CC them up while it is traveling towards them, and then they're going to get stuck in this long route.
The separation as well, the chance when Haunter does have a chance to TP back to that play becomes a bit different. Brandini's was just on the way up. So again, their mismatch maybe becomes Fox's next teleport play. It just has to keep kind of folding over for Fox in that way. If, like we said, if they don't continue those aggressive fights, Svenskeren and Haunter just get too big.
Yeah, and Haunter, because of the fact that Brandini, TP'd bot for that 5-man play, while Haunter TP'd back to lane, Haunter has actually gotten a lot more experience, he's gotten a lot more farm, as well as the kill that happened on Brandini on the bot side with Bjergsen. So these are things that has actually put Haunter a fair bit ahead. If you look at the CS, he's quite a bit up, and back into another pause, unfortunately, as the Rift Herald is being summoned.
Rift Herald to the mid lane, still waiting actually on a minion wave. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Just setting.
Yeah, so Gate is having another issue again, having some audio problems there, so hopefully can get that fixed up very quickly. But either way, yeah, Haunter opening up a lead for himself. The experience is I'd say, a bigger deal than the CS right now. The fact that he's actually 2 levels up gives you so much more power. And while Rumble, you're more about the team fight than the split push, you need to be able to stay relevant, because you're the person who has to try to match Haunter if he decides to go for that split push route. And Haunter building pretty heavily for the 1v1. I think it's a smart build to grab that early cowl to be able to survive through the Rumble, because the solo laners are both going to be dealing magic damage. Corki will as well. It looks like he wants to go towards the Black Cleaver and then Titanic after that. And if you hit that sort of item breakpoint at a reasonable time, the 1v1 is going to be very strong for you with some MR and some solid damaging items. So Brandini definitely needs to kind of keep pace and try to keep up in the experience, because if you make too many team plays, if you're grouping too much and you're not really crushing down the opposing team, then they will be, just by nature of farming all the different lanes, getting more experience, getting more CS.
So interestingly enough, what's the best way for Brandini to manage this? Because usually you can expect the mid laner not to be there as fast as a Talia on a wall, or even with Talia wall down, that passive towards the bot lane. So how, if you are trying to push solo with just wards, do you make that safer, or do you have to play it very timid?
A lot of it is about vision, right? And if you don't have the vision, you have to play scared in one of those circumstances, because if you cannot spot where Talia is, then you have to kind of assume that Talia is coming towards you and back off, right? And it's about playing it safe. It's about pushing your limits as much as you can, but taking the information that you have or the information that you don't and making the best assumption of where they could be, what they could be doing. It's also one of those situations where if you do not push out waves before you teleport to a fight, then you're going to lose farm, right? So the early play, while it was very good for the team as a whole, they got 2 kills, they got first turret. Brandini only got an assist, and he didn't get any of those kills, and he TP'd away from lane while Haunter had already TP'd back. So Haunter is getting more individually out of that play. So that puts Brandini behind, and then you're kind of reliant on your team to really make good on that, right? They got the advantage, so they have to be the ones who are doing well.
And I wonder how much it is going to be Fox enabling these fights, able to take TSM off guard, because as TSM engages these, that equalizer is what's just about jumped off by everybody. Talia's going to be off that, Maokai's going to twist and advance off the equalizer, and Haunter's going to be able to flag and drag right to the back line. So Brandini has his work cut out for him when they do get into these fights, to place down that red carpet in the right spot.
Yeah, he certainly does. I mean, you're going to be hoping that Gate can lock people up inside that, or that, you can Fate's Call, throw in the Braum, and then he ults them, and then you ult on top. And if you can lock them up inside the equalizer, that makes it much more powerful. It looks like they're actually trying to make a play to the top side with this Rift Herald. Drop the Rift Herald, and then Acadian actually catches Biofrost on the way up, and now they're pushing double lift off the turret here too, so they're going to be able to use that Rift Herald to get pressure mid, and then actually net their turret advantage on top side.
Oh, and there's the play again to Brandini on the bot side. Flashed over the wall, he'll be able to scrap shield himself to safety here for a quick second. Actually tries to go for the fight. puts himself back in the frying pan as Hanser will now be able to pick up that kill instead of exiting down the bot side. A fight in mid. His top is still being taken. Just went down. A few last shots from Froggen, but Svenskeren is not rooted as big as he is. He's able to walk right out of there.
Nicely played from Froggen. Dodges 3 out of the 4 shots there. Forces the flash out of Svenskeren, almost kills him off in the 1v2, so nicely done. And even for Brandini, he does go down, but here's Acadian moving up, and this is a very strong Kha'Zix. He actually was spotted on the ward, but I guess Biofrost felt like he couldn't run through the Braum, so kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and he actually did flash. So really, in retrospect, he should have just flashed up over the wall towards Doublelift, and that would have gotten him out. But either way, TSM making the play to the bot side. Brandini, nice flash. He actually flashed out before the Cataclysm landed, which means it does not deal that damage, and then tries to get a turnaround kill here on Bjergsen, but the heal is still available, so he will get run down and taken out.
Item still slowly coming in, almost has that Leandries. Hanser as well, coming up quickly, 1,700 gold in his pocket, so he can go ahead and finish a few of those when he goes back.
And I mean, he's almost that much ahead as well. Like individually, he's around 1,400 ahead, just in that 1v1. They are picking on him very heavily, and this is something that Bjergsen and Hanser have done very well together. Thinking back to last week, Bjergsen bringing out the Galio mid and using that in combination with Hanser's Camille. They like to utilize these roaming mid laners to get advantages in the side lanes, and if you can put Hanser enough ahead, it doesn't really matter if the rest of Echo Fox is a bit stronger, because if no one can 1v1 this guy, he draws so much pressure and he can create so many disadvantages for Echo Fox on the map.
Really taking the right situations at the right time. That has put him up now about 50 CS, 40 CS towards that top lane in 2-0-1. Seems like they swap back the pressure. He'll push up and try to grab the turret here as TSM does a great job defending mid. This already got Rift Herald once, and Echo Fox fell a little short on that one. It's going to be tough with Talia clear.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Talia has very, very good wave clear. That is the majority of their wave clear, though. The rest of them are not going to be as strong. Yes, they can obviously contribute, but certainly they're pretty reliant on Bjergsen in that case. And Echo Fox roaming up to the top side. Hanser going to be taking some pressure here, but TSM is coming up, and if they chase too far, Bjergsen has the ultimate, so they need to realize that Talia could roam up there pretty quickly, and that TSM could even look for a dive. I mean, it's 4 men strong now here. They could actually go for this, and Maokai ultimate going to get popped.
Yeah, seeing Brandini on the bot side says, go, go, go. Rooted as soon as he goes into the Valkyrie. That's going to be Froggen going down. Gate lives only because he has a bit more HP. He goes down at the end. 33 seconds on these timers gives TSM a lot of time to gain map control. It's going to be top turret and maybe even a bit more.
Yeah, really nice dive there from TSM, realizing it was only the 2 members, and they were able to execute that dive very well. Froggen does not actually avoid the Maokai ultimate, and once you get tagged by that, you're going to get CC'd up for so long. It's an easy seismic shove for Bjergsen. That's pretty much guaranteed, and the follow-up damage so high. They're able to burst him down, take a turret, and get back to mid lane to defend. So nice job by TSM.
Flash over the wall. Mash starts 1v1ing with Bjergsen, but gets shoved back now. He's got the world against him, trying to live. The curtain is called, and he is put down in the end.
You can only dodge so much, Riv. I mean, there's 5 members there. He's dodging almost everything.
2 more kills.
He's getting close.
Full kill participation throughout this game for Bjergsen and Hanser. How do you get that from your solo laners? You're only 18 minutes in. Those guys have been everywhere and anywhere they can be at this point. We'll see this again.
The tag team duo and Svenskeren setting up the Maokai ultimate very well. See, Froggen, I think he thinks he can actually valve past it, but he gets rooted up, and he's going to get seismic shoved right out of that. Once you get hit by one part of the CC, you're going to be locked up for so long because there's the knockup from the Q, there's the root from the W, root from the ultimate, flag and drag from Hanser, and the seismic shove. So definitely really powerful team fighting, and TSM, they now have not only eliminated Echo Fox's early advantage, but they have gotten a little bit of one for themselves. And from this point, it gets very hard for Echo Fox because their composition is so much harder to execute. It's not just run straight at them and start fighting. You have to be able to find skirmishes. You have to be able to split up fights because you're also squishy. Anyone who gets CC'd up is going to die, and that's the advantage of running these sorts of compositions that TSM is. I mean, you open up a curtain call, you hit CC on the closest person, and you just kill them. It's like, that's as simple as it gets.
And a lot of times we've seen teams with that, say a curtain call, and then there's one engage that's too far, but they have the flag and drag and the Maokai this time. two people can go that far in these engagements. We've seen some teams get into a bit of a chaotic situation when they can't follow up as fast with these tank comps they create. But like you said, Echo Fox starting to fall behind a little bit without being able to get that early game damage. What's the way back? Because it's basically TSM has to go to a barbecue on the equalizer during a fight.
I mean, the way back is creating vision, you know, getting vision over your opponents, finding picks, right? You have to get these fights that are either odd man fights or that you can actually split up the fight because, you know, high DPS members can skirmish very well. They just don't function as well in the 5v5, generally speaking, because, you know, if a Maokai is fighting 1v1 against the Rumble, maybe the Rumble wins, right? But you're in a 5v5, Maokai just CCs you up and the team kills you. So it's about splitting up fights. It's about utilizing this Kha'Zix who is very strong to find picks through vision and through pressure like that.
Cadian being able to find maybe even Bjergsen on his own could ult around and really get that speed.
The other option is if you can kite out a fight well enough, right? If you evolve the Kha'Zix W on a Cadian and you just try to kite backwards and focus down the tanks, if you can avoid the CC, which is obviously a lot easier said than done, then that is a way to win fights, but it's so tough with point and click CC coming out of a couple of these members.
Cadian just seeing that ward, has to place one of his own. TSM feeling comfortable about moving these pink wards up means they're ready to protect them as well. Bjergsen gonna go ahead and take a side lane now. They're going for the 1-3-1 as they know they're getting just powerful enough.
I mean, when your two solo laners are the strongest members on the map, you can go to that 1-3-1, right? You know, protect double lift, allow him to continue getting that farm, just shove out the side lanes, and then you can have them collapse, make plays. Bjergsen can always ult in to the mid lane or anywhere else to try to make that play if they want, and we're getting towards the Baron stages of the game, so look for TSM to try to establish vision around that Baron and really start to kind of threaten taking it, to force Echo Fox to come in and then start a fight. Collapse is coming here. Haunts are moving up, and they could look for a fight.
Takes a few hits. He may not see Brandini just on his bottom side. They catch him now. Flag and drag out as both teams kind of break off this fight. Looks like it's going to be the wave clear. Froggen and team kind of controlling mid towards this Baron objective. Just to jockey for position, really, and gain control of these waves.
Yeah, and it's all about the mid lane control. We talk about that so much, but if you can actually push up the mid lane, you force them to respond to those minions or lose their turret, and then you can move to the Baron. And Svenskeren can check these bushes, but the team is a little bit behind him.
That's what they needed, the bushwhack. There's the equalizer, the barbecue for TSM, and they try to leave right away. Last to the party, first to leave. They start firing back, though. Svenskeren goes down. Gate is also on the floor, but they're able to get back out of this one. I figured TSM was going to run down mid and take turret because Fox almost gave him that position.
Yeah, I mean, TSM was obviously worried that Echo Fox was just trying to rush down the Baron. They do have Kalista, so you have to kind of be scared of that, and Svenskeren didn't even wait for his sapling cooldown to come back up. He was really worried that they were already on it. They were already burning it down, so he wanted to get over there. You know, in that case, it may just be worth actually burning your ultimate, throw that out there, and allow that to kind of check a bit for you, because he wasn't even able to get that off. And he checked the first brush with his sapling, but the cooldown was still up and couldn't actually check the second. Either way, they just lose the one kill, but it's a nice pick from Echo Fox.
Little here, a little there. They got to put the pieces together. It's not going to be one big fight.
Yeah.
As we see this again.
So he checks the first brush with the sapling. They spot everyone. At that point, you just try to have to hope you can somehow get it out of there, throw your ultimate, run away as fast as you can, but at least TSM does trade back a kill. Yep. They take out Gate.
Here, this vision can be pushed up. Fox is kind of just positioned now on their own side of the map, squeaking one or two wards just behind the red buff, but they can see Acadian placing these, so they're only going to go down. Again, Fox positions themselves topside, don't have to worry about mid now, as they can just flank TSM if they do it again.
Oh, but Brandini's going to get caught out. It's what we talked about, right? Echo Fox trying to play the vision game, trying to create these picks through vision control, and that's why they're doing it on the top side of the map. TSM does have a response now, though. If they want, they can look towards the Infernal Dragon, and that's where Bjergsen and Haunter are right now. But Echo Fox can always go back to the Baron and threaten this. If both of the members of TSM are down there, they could even just start it up. I mean, they do have Kalista. Infernal goes down, and I think Echo Fox will just start the Dragon, or start the Baron, rather.
Ren to come in, Smite is there, Bjergsen goes up, and Svenskeren's obviously going to try for this. 2,500 HP, very low on the backside is Acadian. He goes down before Baron does. TSM secures the objective. Bjergsen getting one of these kills. Bjergsen getting a second kill. 1,000 kills for Bjergsen. And they get the Baron. 4 members of Fox are down. TSM running strong. That's the ace from Double Lift.
What a way to do it as well. 1,000 kills for Bjergsen, the first mid laner in the NA LCS to hit this mark. And he is crushing it this game. TSM get a clean ace, get the Baron, and they have all but wrapped this one up.
What a way to pull the trigger. The team's down baiting the Infernal, and they speed to the top of the map. That's what these guys are made of, is mobility. Bjergsen being one of the first ones there, as he was at Dragon, and the entire team, like we said, can be behind each other on these initiations with that range.
And I mean, it's a risky play from Echo Fox, but they know they're going to lose in the long game. They need to make some sort of play.
You gotta make...
They're playing around Vision. They just lost the Infernal. They say, okay, this is a risk, but it's a calculated risk with the Callista. Unfortunately, Acadian gets focused down. Look at Double Lift shooting all his shots. The Maokai ultimate hits Acadian, and Double Lift gets 3 free ultimate shots on him and bursts him down. Mash rendered it to a reasonable range to actually be Q smited by Acadian, but Acadian is already dead. So not only do they mess up that, but Svenskeren gets the Baron. Double Lift able to clean up the last kill for the ace, and they're going again.
Doesn't look like it's gonna stop. The batting orders back up, and here come the pitches. TSM looking to get thrown a curveball here. Fox able to slow that one down, but Mash, both summoners down immediately after that fight, and now he's got to heal back up. Home guards are there 24 minutes in, but TSM is knocking on the front door faster than Fox can heal.
I mean, they're just gonna keep pushing here. They're so strong, so far up in gold, and in the strength of their composition at this point. Echo Fox needs to try to look for something, some sort of play that will get them back in, but I mean, TSM is grouped up as a 5-man squad. They have the more powerful front line as they're poking them out.
Oh, downtown goes Svenskeren. He's gonna be able to take the turret for quite a bit of time. You can see all of TSM not seeing the turrets. They just walk right by them. They'll be able to turn around and get them whenever they please at this point. 25 minutes in, they start to break the base of Echo Fox and might just look for those Nexus turrets.
I mean, they could theoretically end the game here if they want. Top side is pushing in, but they're going to go for the kills.
The instant root, the instant kill. 3 more members now in the eyes of TSM. Froggen with the Gatling, trying to poke in a bit of long range with Mash and his Javelins. And it looks like they stave off TSM for a bit longer, but it's only so they can get more minions to pile into the base.
Yeah, going to knock down this second inhibitor, and it's looking pretty hopeless for Echo Fox. You cannot fight TSM straight up 5v5 as this composition. There's just no way to fight through the J4 and the Maokai. So it's so hard once you're backed into a corner like this. Like, there's no surprise play to really make.
Absolutely. Fox with a pretty decent early game, and then it was kind of TSM finding those skirmish kills one by one around the map, making sure Haunter was big, making sure Bjergsen was big. And still those two very, very close to having full kill participation. Bjergsen just 1 off.
I mean, Bjergsen even bought up a Mage Eyes. He's feeling pretty strong at this point.
He's had so many stacks on that Dark Seal for a while. Why not now that he has the extra money?
Either way, TSM looking to play this very smart. They're going to clear out all the vision from the jungle. You eliminate all these wards. That takes away any possibility of a flank, and then you push back and go for that 3rd inhibitor. So Frog going to have to use the package on the exit. Yeah. You can see Haunter shoving in the mid lane minions so that people from Echo Fox have to come over and answer those. And then as soon as they do, you either take the turret or you simply just dive and take those kills because you know it's going to be an odd man fight.
Slowly walking it in now for the last inhibitor turret. That could be back for Acadian, but it looks like they just do that. Enough pressure to keep Froggen out and the inhibitor down. Deadly Flourish, Flag and Drag. There's so much crowd control for just the first person locked down. Cataclysm just creates an entire home for Fox to live in there. Fish in a barrel coming in from Double Lift, and it looks like they are now able to take the inhibitor. They're able to go for the Nexus turrets ever so slowly as they chase Froggen out of the base to make sure he ain't coming back.
Double Lift wants that 4th shot. Kill so bad on Froggen. Froggen not gonna give it to him, and TSM looking to clean this one up. Free 30 minutes, very strong showing from them after a good early game from Echo Fox.
Absolutely. slowing things down, making sure they had the composition scaling just a little bit stronger than what Acadian could bring in the jungle, as he had Svenskaren's number, but the team prevails. TSM goes in strong, and they come out with the first win here in the series. TSM over Echo Fox.
Good stuff from them, and congratulations to Bjergsen once again. 1,000th kill, finally hit. He's the 4th person in the NA LCS to do it.
Regular
following
season?
up, in the regular season. Following up Wild Turtle, Double Lift, and Sneaky. Those are the 3 others who have actually completed that achievement.
Can't wait. I want to see if I can go back and figure out